Hello and welcome everybody to the VooPlayer Q&A weekly webinar call. We're going to get started here in just one moment, but before we do, if you can just confirm that both audio and video are okay, and then we can get started. We got a confirmation from Dean. That's usually a good indicator. Will is confirming as well. Hello to everybody once again. My name is Peter. I am VooPlayer's product manager. Hello to Rufus. And we are holding these weekly calls in order to answer any questions that you may have as users about VooPlayer or using VooPlayer. In that also to define and recommend best ways to cover advanced use cases of video and VooPlayer in general in your business. Also to showcase new stuff that we've been working on so that you can keep track of all of the ways in which you can leverage value out of VooPlayer, and ultimately to just discuss video and collect feedback, thoughts, ideas, recommendations, critiques in order to help us improve VooPlayer as a product moving forward. So the format of the webinar is pretty straightforward. At any time that you have a question, you can just drop it in this little chat box. Or if you came prepared with some questions, now would be a good time to drop them in the chat box, as we'll start answering them in the order that they come in. If you are unable to attend any of these calls, weekly replays are available both on our YouTube channel, link to which I just posted in the chat box, youtube.com/c/VooPlayer, as well as on our Facebook group, which is facebook.com/group/VooPlayer, and the link to that is also in your chat box. Hello to Alex. If also at any time throughout the week, not necessarily during these webinars, you feel obliged to share an idea or indicate something that's important to you, or you just want to kind of check on our progress, you may do so directly from the application by clicking over here on documentation and support, and there you can click on submit and vote on ideas, which will take you to our product portal where you can see stuff that we are planning on doing, stuff that we are considering doing, and all of these are user-generated ideas which other users are voting on, and that helps us identify the priority and momentum of these items, as well as you can see stuff that's recently launched. And primarily, of course, as I mentioned, here on the top right, in the top right corner, you have the opportunity to submit a new idea, and there you're able to specify what your use case is, what would help you accomplish it if VooPlayer was able to do so, and indicate the priority of that. And that helps us rather than collecting ideas from support from Facebook. If at any time you have an idea, this is the best way to do so, because this way we can associate your feedback directly to our roadmap and prioritize accordingly. So we thank you in advance for using this to submit ideas and recommendations. I think that's all with regards to sort of housekeeping and general introductions. Let me just take a look. Alex has a question already. So isn't there a way to make an embedded video play as a pop-up as it is? I mean, if I switch, I'll get this question on the screen as well, just so you can follow up. The reason why I'm breaking up my reading is because I'm trying to understand it. But if I have it in front of everybody, maybe somebody can clarify some of these items for me. Let me just zoom in a little bit on this. Can I zoom in? Why can't I zoom in? There we go. All right, this should be better. So Alex is asking, isn't there a way to make an embedded video play as a pop-up as it is? I mean, if I switch to pop-up code, I have to set up a new thumbnail, add a play button myself, and then it will just open the pop-up in which I have to click play again. I'd like to have my regular embed video. And when I click play, it just plays in a pop-up window. Yeah, that's a good suggestion. So I see what you're getting at. So if we can illustrate Alex's question here, so let me just have the application here, and I'll just grab any of the videos I have at hand. Why not do this one? So if I understood Alex's question, and there's not a way to do that currently, but I don't see why we can't do that as an enhancement, or at least as an option to the pop-up code. So the regular video embed looks like, let me just paste it in an environment where we can render these codes. So the regular embed code looks and generates as this. So Alex's question is, why can't a pop-up embed look exactly like this and just continue having the behavior of the pop-up? And the reason is there's not a good reason. I think nobody thought of suggesting that yet, Alex. So thanks for bringing that up. That's a really good idea. As currently, if you want to generate a pop-up, by default you even get just a text link. But if you want to, you could have an image. And I have a lot of images, so this is going to take a little while to load from my account history. So I can maybe grab one of the video images. So I can grab the email preview. That would be maybe the closest to what we have. So I'll just grab that, and I'll grab this. So this is what the pop-up code would render as in the best case scenario, which is not ideal. I agree. I think a much better experience, which is going to resemble the player in the pop-up much more closely, is to have the pop-up code have the ability to just look like this, but just behave as a pop-up. I think that's a really good idea. Let me just make sure that I noted that feedback, because that's something that we should definitely implement. Just give me a second there. Let me find that Alex's question, and let me make sure that I note that so that we can implement that as soon as possible. Apologies, I just need to log into some systems over here on the other screen just so I'm able to take some notes more effectively. And we're good for the remainder of the webinar with regards to that. All right, cool. So I noted that as an enhancement. I'll get to Dean's question. I just want to see if Alex had, when you upload this webinar, we'll get to that. I thought it was related to the pop-up. So Dean has a question. Dean's question is, when I need to add a vertical video, so that's a portrait video, I have no issues with figuring out the size as well as how to embed it. My question is, would you ever consider making a vertical as a standard as you do with square, instead of having to deal with us having to deal with sizing on our own? Vertical should be the standard. I don't have a vertical video. Do I have vertical video? I don't think I do. I'll show it as an example on a regular video, rather than wasting a lot of time on trying to find a regular video. But here's the basic idea. So pretending that this, actually I really want to find one right now, because This is going to take a while, but I think it's going to answer this question a little bit. Portrait video example MP4 download. Hopefully we can find something quickly. Beautiful, free, vertical stock. Please have this work. Free vertical. Is this a video in the background? Yeah, there's a snail. Let's see if we can just snatch their video. Cover free vertical videos. Can we somehow download this? Download free. Let's see if we can get this video. Download. No, I don't want to sign up. So this is a zip with tulips. And let me just extract that. Where did that window go? That's on the other screen. Pardon me just for a second. So I'll just extract that to my desktop really quickly. And I'll just upload it to VooPlayer, because the reason why I'm doing this as with an actual vertical video rather than as a simulation with another video is just because that actually should be handled on its own, Dean. So we'll just take a look at this when it's finished processing. Let me just take a look in the meantime. Do we have any other questions? So that's a question from Dean. Suggestion from Alex. When you upload this webinar to YouTube, it is very useful if you keep the chat box so we know the questions that will be answered. It's kind of a webinar index. I'll try to do that as much as possible. It's sometimes difficult because the chat box gets in the way of the actual recording and what's being shown. But as I started doing here, if at any time there's an opportunity where the chat box can be visible, and it's useful to have it visible, I'll try to have it on the screen as much as possible. So I think this has been converted and optimized. So this is a vertical video as an example, and we'll save it. So Dean's question is, similarly to how we have a preset for square videos, why can't we do that for portrait videos rather than you having to figure out the sizing on your own? And if I'm not mistaken, as soon as I click over here on custom and I turn on custom aspect ratio and orientation, as soon as I click on that, that says auto detected. So we wrote a little script in the background, and it looks and it says, hey, if this is not in some sort of a standard size, I'm just gonna auto detect and recommend the sizing for you. So if this is auto detected, you should be good to go just by turning on custom aspect ratio and orientation. So if I just copy this embed code, and you'll notice, if you do notice, there is a small piece of code which is added there, which says aspect. That's not there previously. So as soon as I click this, it's going to add that aspect portion of the code in there, which is auto detected aspect ratio of 0.56. So as soon as I run this embed code, we'll see. Let me just make this a little bit smaller just for demonstration purposes. You'll get the vertical player immediately. So I don't think you even need to do anything on your own aside from just clicking on custom aspect ratio. That's going to auto detect that, and you should be good. However, even if you do, let's say that doesn't happen for some reason, or you prefer to have more control over it, what you could do is you would have I believe this is HD standard definition, which is 1.78 aspect ratio. But in it, I'll just flip the orientation from landscape to portrait, which is again going to give me that 056, which is the exact same result as auto detected. I don't know if I can. There's auto detected up there, and that's the exact same embed code with auto detect, as well as with, if I wanted to do it manually through a preset, I would just choose the HD standard, which is 16:9, and I would just flip that by choosing portrait rather than landscape. And as you can see, so I just copied it again, pasted it here, and if we run it again, we'll see that we get the exact same result. So hopefully that answers that question that Dean had. All right, let me just close some things that I opened while I was answering that. All right, so let's see what we have. So Rufus is saying, I just want to be sure that my videos are not public. Each video has a lock symbol beneath it, and it says secured file. Does this mean that the video is not public? That's a great question from Rufus, and no, it does not mean that your video is not public. So that's a really good question, and something that can be confusing. So it's good to bring it up every now and then and clarify that. So for example, I just uploaded this video, which is called vertical video, and it has this little padlock next to it, and if I hover over it, you'll see that it reads as a secured file. So a secured file does not necessarily mean that the video is not public, because what I can do is I can come over here, oops, I can just go to the publish for this, and I can grab this share link that I have for this video, and I can just hit play. I can just open it in a new browser, and I'm able to access this video directly. So the video itself is de facto public because I can access it regardless of it being secured or not. So let me first answer what this padlock is. Let's first address that. So what this padlock indicates, this padlock is equivalent to this checkbox. So if this checkbox is turned on when you are creating a new video, you will have the padlock. And this padlock is referring to the video content security through HLS segmentation encryption. So what HLS segmentation encryption is protection of your video content through encryption of the stream, meaning that even if somebody has access directly to your video, so they're able to play it from here and they're able to look at the code for it, et cetera, they have no capability to download it and decrypt it and use your content in different purposes other than what you've intended. And this is something that we're really proud of. I think we're probably the only provider that has this level of protection. I don't think that anybody has been able to break this down and decrypt one of our files yet. So if you basically, to long story short, if you have a where did my dashboard go? If you have this padlock, that just indicates that your file is secured and it can be downloaded and decrypted even if somebody has access to it. Now, what happened? How do I make a video so that it's not a public? How do I make a private video? So there's a few things which you can do here, and they all kind of build on top of each other as additional layers of security. So the first thing that you would want to do, obviously, is come over here to appearance and style, and you would want to customize the video page. So you would come directly to the video page customization, and you would just say, I just want to disable this video page altogether. So even if somebody now has a link to your video, when they try to open it, it will say the owner of this video has disabled viewing from this page. So at this point, with this option turned on, disable, or rather with the video page disabled, at this point, the only way that your video can be played is wherever you've embedded it. So if you've come here and you've copied the embed code and you've come to your platform or your site, then you've embedded that video can now be played from this platform, right? Which is still not completely secured, because somebody who's one of your students or one of you people who are watching your video, who's watching the video, can come and copy the embed code from your, so I can, if let's pretend that I'm here on your website, Rufus, I can come to your site and look for the VooPlayer code, and I can see it here, and I can steal it, and then I can place it on a site of my own, and then I can watch that. So the additional layer of security which is recommended in this case is the domain restrictions. So to set up domain restrictions, you would click over here on your profile. Oh, there's two ways. You can do it globally for all of your videos, or you can do it individually on per video basis. If you want to do it on per video basis, you can come over here to video settings and adjust the global sharing policy. You can, if you turn that off, then you can specify the domains you want for this video. But usually folks just come over here to allow domains, and this is the same thing but just on a global level, which is just going to apply to all of your videos, so you don't have to adjust each one of them. So currently I have it set so my videos can be played on any domain. Whereas if I say, hey, my videos can only be played on google.com, so if I'm Google as a company and I want my videos only to be able to be played on google.com, now my videos can only be played on google.com. So when I come over here, and even though I have the embed code which is gonna run the player, here's the player, but then when somebody tries to play it, they'll get an error which is unauthorized. You're not able to play this video because there is a domain restriction put in place. And you can whitelist as many sites as you want. I'll just turn this off just not to mess with some of my demos. And as soon as I turn this off, as you can see, next time this is ran. So now when I run this, video should play again as normally as previously. So to answer your question, Rufus, once more, two things you want to do is set up the domain restrictions for your videos where you want them to be played, and you want to disable access to your video through the watch page by coming to customize watch page and then checking the icon, which is, I think it's disable video page, and that's private embedded. I think even it says turning this on will allow this video to be watched only as an embedded player. So hopefully that answers Rufus's question. Let's see if we have some more question. Rick is saying, can videos be played on a loop? Absolutely. So if we have this video here, you can come to marketing tools, and you want to go to interactions and CTAs. There you want an on finish action, and on finish you want to set as play video again. So that's just going to loop over and over again, if I'm not mistaken. Let's just save this, come back to this page, just run it once again just to get the new information. So now once the video is finished, I don't know if I saved those changes. Oh, let's see. Yeah, so now when the video is finished, as you can see, it just jumps back to the beginning and it just loops over and over and over again as you can see here. So that's how you turn on looping of a video. Once again, that's in marketing, interactions, on finish action, and you want to set it to play again. Alrighty, let's see what else do we have here. Can I play a YouTube playlist? Ooh, I don't know if anybody has tried this previously. Would YouTube ever stop embedding videos? If so, can Voo bypass any attempts by YouTube doing that? That is a very extensive question that I think we don't have time to answer in full. With regards to embedding a YouTube playlist, I'm willing to give that a go and see what happens. So youtube.com, I think I have some playlists of my own. Where do I find my playlists? Show more. So these are my playlists, right? So I can come over here and click on play all, right? So this is gonna go through the playlist, right? So let me just, I don't think anybody has tried this before, so I don't know what's going to happen. So I come over here and I wanna create a new video using a YouTube playlist, and I click on validate. Let's see what happens. Something happened. So, all right, I'm still curious to see what's going to happen. So let's just save this. So this is a playlist. We'll save it. And let's go to watch this to see what's going to happen. So if I'm not mistaken, it just took the first video out of the playlist. So nothing further is going to happen. Let me just jump to the end just to make sure. Yeah, so you just basically have that first play of the video, which is going to be stripped from the playlist. If you attempted something like getting the actual playlist, I can tell you that's just not going to work. As it happens, the playlist, the way that it's worked is it's actually called through the actual video. So that's why the first video on it worked. What you could do is you could, what I would recommend perhaps is you can, if you find a way to, I'm sure there is a way to export this playlist as CSV, so you get the URLs for these videos. Then you're able to come into Voo Player. Here, let me just go back to the dashboard, and you can click on mass import. And there you have a couple of options. If it's a really small playlist, maybe it would make sense to come over here and then just do add URLs, and then you can add one and then a second one, then a third one. Alternatively, you can add from a CSV file, which you can upload, and then you can add files to the playlist, and you can create a new playlist, or just select one of your existing playlists, and that way you can en masse just import all of the URLs from that playlist to your Voo Player playlist. I remember maybe a couple of times there's been requests where people have wanted to have just import this URL for the playlist and then have Voo Player sync with that playlist. So whenever you add or remove videos from that playlist, they will be removed or added on a Voo Player playlist. But that's something that we haven't gotten a lot of requests for. So no support for native YouTube playlists just yet. Let me just jump back to the question. So with regards to would YouTube ever stop embedding videos? If so, can Voo Player bypass attempts by YouTube doing that? Short answer, no. So if YouTube stopped embedding videos. Like if YouTube said our videos can now only be played on YouTube, we would be screwed. As would, I mean, you as users who are using YouTube videos, they would just not be able to be played. That's the short answer of it, without going into a 2-hour discussion around YouTube policies and their restrictions on access to videos. If you are more interested on that topic, Rick, shoot us an email at support@woolplayer.com and we can get that conversation going. If you are curious more about YouTube policies and the way their videos work. Rick is saying, apart from a password gate, can the URL video not be directly accessed? I think I answered that. Dean is saying never did auto detect. Cool. Interesting. If it never did auto detect, do consider that a bug, please, and raise an issue through support@woolplayer.com. Say, hey, videos are supposed to auto. I'll throw a caveat on that. Auto detect will work only for videos which are uploaded to WooPlayer. So if you've imported an external video to WooPlayer which is portrait oriented, then it will not auto detect, because there we have no access to the actual video source from which we're able to snag width and height and calculate that auto detect. Stephen is asking, is password protection to play a particular video on the VP roadmap? That's pretty common for other shareable resources. It's not on the roadmap because that's been implemented, I think, since the beginning of WooPlayer. So if we have this video, let's come back to it. Here under marketing tools, we can come to video gates and we can set a password protect gate, and we can style this a little bit differently. So we can set it up as a password lock and style it, etc., 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 etc. I just want to set my password as, I don't know, 123, and let's click on create the password there. And note that the password that I set was created at second 00, but you can even use this as some sort of a teaser. So if you want some sort of a brief introduction for a few seconds and then have the password come in, you can set it at any time. So if you set it at the beginning of the video, the viewer is obviously going to have to resolve that at the very beginning. However, you're able to move that to a particular point so that so that the video is locked sort of midstream. That's something that our users like to do. So if we run this video once more, we'll see that here, hey, here's the video, and then it starts playing, and then I think it's second 4 I set it up as, so somewhere around here the password lock kicks in and you need to unlock it in order to continue playing. So if I try something random like blah, blah, that's not gonna work. That's not gonna work. Whereas if I type in 123, if I remember correctly, then I'm able to continue playing the video. So password protect is usually something that's a very common use of WooPlayer. Stephen, I think that answers your question. Rick is saying, eagerly awaiting the end of August for promo and discounted pricing on the licenses. So are we. We're prepared for it. We're just waiting for our partners, who shall remain unidentified at this point, to kick that promotion into gear at the end of the summer. Alex is saying, best way to emulate YouTube end screens for videos I want to offer next. I tried Box Custom Template, but it's pretty limited in terms of positioning and linking to new videos. We'll get to that. Rick is saying, let me just scan through the questions which are remaining because we're running short on time. Just want to make sure that I catch everything. So end screen on YouTube. What's the upgrade path from AppSumo Lifetime to Enterprise? I do this with Video Editor prior to using VP, just a thought. Alex is saying, but do you make it clickable URL to see your stuff, etc.? Cool. So with regards to Alex's question on the YouTube end screen, I think Dean has hit sort of the nail on the head there. You can edit the video so it displays as you want on the end, but on top of that, you can add WooPlayer overlay over those spots which you've indicated as clickable in the template, and thus sort of achieve what you want to. So for example, if you had two squares over here, maybe I can come over here to the overlays and annotations, and I can click create a new overlay, and we can do a hotspot link. So instead, I don't want it to be this small. I want it to be like that big, and I don't want it to be rounded, and I don't want it to pulsate. So this is just going to be my hotspot. And for the color, I don't even want anything there. Maybe I want something very slightly just so I'm aware where it is. So I'll just reduce its opacity to something really low, so I'm able to kind of see it, but you're able to make it fully transparent if you want, and then you can position it wherever you had that overlay in the video, so that way you can make it clickable. And of course you would want to maybe put this at the end, so maybe, I don't know how long this video is, maybe 15 seconds or so, so I'll have it come in from second 12. Oh, okay, so I can do it from second 12 because that's too long. So I'll just save that, and I want to get rid of that. No, I want to get rid of the password protect gate. So this video is getting a lot of treatment today. So we'll just save that. So if we run it once more, and that should be scaled proportionally to size. So if you made an overlay in the, so we'll see it here. So you can see that. So if you've edited the video correctly and you've timed the positioning, this will pop up. And as I said, this box will remain proportional to the video. So regardless of its, maybe not. So regardless of its, let's see, regardless. So maybe I think it hits a certain point where it's too big. Yeah, so it doesn't get bigger than you told it to be. So it only goes smaller. So you have that overlay with which you can interact with the simulated hotbox that's actually in the video source content. So that might work nicely for your situation, Rick. What else was there? What's the upgrade path? As I mentioned, the end screens are a good feature to have. We'll note that as feedback as well. Definitely something that should be on our ideas board. So let me just make sure that I note that really quickly. Why am I not getting that? Because I'm getting a bunch of other stuff as well. All right, never mind. So we noted the feedback for the end screens. Can we schedule the password to be auto disabled for no more viewer access? No. Currently, no. I don't see what's the actual use case of that. Why not just delete your video or disable it being from disable the video from playing completely, or just change the password, I guess. But why? But how do you? All right, we answered that. And last question. Unfortunately, we're way over time today. What's the upgrade path from AppSumo Lifetime to Enterprise? So if you have, I'm currently on an enterprise account, so I don't have that option currently. But I think if you're on the lifetime account, somewhere around here, I think up here on the top or maybe below here somewhere, it should say upgrade or get more power or something like that. And then you should have an upgrade button, and you can just click on that and follow the path. That, and I also advise you maybe visit your billing profile just to make sure that you have all of the options available in front of you. All right, cool. Need to wrap this up, guys. I want to thank everybody who joined this week and took the time to offer these suggestions. We'll definitely consider the end screens as something that should be on our portal, so people can vote on that, and we can get some traction behind that. I think it'll be cool as well. I've seen a few feedback requests for that. We're excited as well for the upcoming promotion at the end of August or at the beginning of September, as I've mentioned during the last webinar. Did I miss anything else? Did we have any big takeaways? As always, we remain available through support@bullplayer.com if you think of anything else, or if you have any issues which we can look at or address. So thanks once more for joining. Hopefully we'll see you next week, and have a great remainder of this week. Bye.